So for today's video, we are going to be making this little pumpkin. We are going to start at the top of the stem, work our way all the way down to the bottom, all no-sew, and then we're just going to tack these little springy things on. We're just tying them on. At the end of the video, it gets a little bit confusing because I'm also going to be using this video to make a little standing man pumpkin guy. But this is the full video just for the pumpkin, and I will have links in the bottom if you want to continue on after and make him a body. I'll also have the little spider in here, and a little bit of the sewing. I don't do the cheeks and the mouth, but it's just 2 stitches wrapped around. And same with the mouth. Okay, well, thanks for coming and watching my video, and let's get started. So I need to apologize for this little part. I just want to start editing my video, and I have no row 1 to 5 of the stem. So somewhere in between videoing and deleting and loading and reloading into the editor, I've somehow lost it. So I'm just going to have to redo the first 5 rows, and then we will get back into the original stem as soon as I get this part redone. Okay, so you're going to make a loop, wrap the yarn over your finger, down and through, and just leave that little loop on the end, just like you are going to make a chain. You're going to put your needle or your hook in, grab your yarn, pull up and through, and make 1 chain stitch. And all that does is secure your yarn to your loop, and it does not count as a stitch. So for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab your stitch marker. And for rows 2 to 5, we're going to be doing 6 single crochets all the way around. And for the rest of the stem, we're also going to be doing 4 rows of every number. So if it's 6 single crochets, it'll be 4 rows of 6 single crochets. 7 single crochets, 4 rows of 7 single crochets. And what you're going to decide, if you don't want to have this big long stem here, you're going to do between 1 and 4 rows of continuous single crochets. Okay, so for round 2, 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to turn that the right way so we're not going inside out. Flip your stitch marker. Round 3, another 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, another 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And for round 5, another 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now we'll go back to the original stem we did. Row 6, we are going to do 5 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 7. So this is slowly going to start getting a little bit easier to deal with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our increase, 6 and 7. Rows 7 to 10, we are just going to do 7 single crochets all the way around. You are going to be doing between 1 and 4 rows, whatever number you picked. I'll be doing 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oopsie, I went to both sides there, 7, so that'll be 1 row of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that was 2 rows of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that was 3 rows of 4. This will be our last row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Row 11, you are going to do 6 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the last stitch increase. For rows 12 to 15, you are just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. Make sure you do the same number that you've been doing throughout the whole stem. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that was your first round of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that was your second round of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That was your third round of 4. So for anyone doing 4, this will be our last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. For round 16, you are going to do 3 single crochets and 1 increase. Repeat that for a total of 10. So 1, 2, 3, then you're going to increase 4 and 5, and then you're going to repeat what you just did. 6, 7, 8, and your increase 9 and 10. Now you're going to do your 1 to 4 rows. You might want to consider, if you've only been doing 1 row, doing a couple more just so your stem is straighter instead of a perfect triangle. but you'll have to play with that a little bit. I haven't experimented with that. I've only done this shape for this one. Okay, so 10 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that was our first round of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that was our second row of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That was our third row and our fourth row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, this last part is going to be the last chunk of our stem. So we are going to do, for row 21, 4 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 12. One, 2, 3, 4, and our increase 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and our increase 11 and 12. Rows 22 to 25 will just be 4 rows of 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, whoops, did I get my stitch marker in there? Yep, I did. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I'm going to keep counting just because it's a lot of stitches to try to remember what row I am. So I'm just going to continuously keep going till I have 4 sets of 12. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flip your stitch marker, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, what the heck? What? Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I thought someone just stole my car. I'm sitting upstairs in my son's old bedroom, and I can see out the window in my peripheral vision, and I seen a car leaving down my driveway, going around the curve, and it looked exactly the same weird, unique color, like a dark steel blue, matched the dirtiness level and everything. I had to take a break because I'm still, look at that. Anyway, okay, I don't even know where I am now. I thought I'd just quickly explain in case it just caused some panic. All right, so this was row, our last increase, row 21, and then I've done 2 rows, so that's 24 stitches, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 30 on our third row. Okay, 31. I like how I finished my stitch before I left. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So this will be our last row, 12. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and our last stitch, 48. Okay, for row 26, we are going to be doing this little fringe around the edge, and we are going to be going in the front loop only. So if you've never done that before, this is where you put your hook, usually under the 2 V's. So for the front loop, you're going to go in the hole, but you're going to come up through between the V's and just grab that first front loop. And you're going to do that all the way around. So the sequence for these little peaks is going to be 1 increase in the front loop. So 1 and 2, and then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do an increase in the next stitch in the front loop. 1 and 2. And then you're just going to repeat that all the way around. So in the front loop, an increase, whoops, 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the next stitch in the front loop, your increase. One and 2. Okay, Keep going all the way around. Don't forget about the front loop. So increase 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, increase in the next front loop, 1 and 2. Repeat that again. Front loop increase, 1, 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then increase in that front loop again of the next stitch, 1 and 2. Your next set in the front loop, increase 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the front loop do your increase 1 and 2. And this should be our last one. Increase in the front loop, 1 and 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and increase in that last front loop, 1 and 2. And then you're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch, and you're going to tie that off and leave yourself a bit of a string, because you are going to use that to tack these down once we get about here with the orange. Just because it's all one piece, I needed a way to, when I changed from green to orange, so this wasn't just kind of flipping up in the air. Okay. Okay, grab your orange or whatever color you are making your pumpkin, and you're just going to wrap your yarn around to make a little knot with a loop at the end. And we are going to attach that to our stem. So make sure you have the stitches you're starting in on the bottom, because if you have it this way and start going around this way, you're going to start making it inside out. So make sure you're on the bottom, so when you start, you're going this way, so your outside stitches are showing. So go in that first back loop, grab your yarn, pull it through, make a slip stitch, and then you're going to do 1 single crochet in that same stitch, and that will be your first stitch. Okay, so for row 1 in the back loop, you are going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase for a total of 18. So there's 1, and our increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase 5 and 6, 7, increase 8 and 9, 10, increase 11 and 12, 13, increase 14 and 15, 16, and an increase for 17 and 18. For round 2, you're just going to go in your first stitch of the last round, and we are going to do 2 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 24. So 1, 2, and your increase, 3 and 4. And just repeat that all the way around. 5, 6, increase 7 and 8. 9, 10, increase 11 and 12. 13, 14, increase 15 and 16. 17, 18, and an increase 19 and 20. 21, 22, and increase 23 and 24. I'll just move our stitch marker here. For round 3, you're going to do 3 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 30. So 1, 2, 3, increase 4 and 5. Continue, 6, 7, 8, and our increase 9 and 10. 11, 12, 13, and an increase 14 and 15. 16, 17, 18, and our increase 19 and 20. 21, 22, 23, increase for 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and increase for 29 and 30. Whoops. Row 4, we are going to do 4 single crochets and 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and our increase 5 and 6. And then just repeat that sequence all the way around. 7, 8, 9, 10, increase 11 and 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, increase 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and our increase 23 and 24. 25, 26, 27, 28, and increase 29 and 30. 31, 32, 33, 34, and our excuse me, increase 35 and 36. Row 5, we are going to do 5 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 42. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our increase 6 and 7. Repeat that all the way around. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and our increase 13 and 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and our increase 20 and 21. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and our increase 27 and 28. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and our increase 34 and 35. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, whoops, and our increase 41 and 42. Okay, now we are going to sew, well, not sew, tack on our little vine here. So thread your green or whatever color you use for the stem. And I'm just going to put this on the other side somewhere up close to where we joined the two different colors together. And all I'm going to do, I think on our second row we made, or was that our third? So 1, 2, 3, that's our third row. Just going to come up, and I'm not doing this tight, I'm just tacking it down just so it doesn't flop around. So when you go through this way, up through the one part of the stitch, you're not going to pull this tight, you're just going to leave that kind of gently straight, not loose, but don't pull it tight. And then you're just going to go down into the other side of a stitch and back through that exact same hole. And you're going to do that all the way around, kind of just checking that they're sort of even. And then go back up through that row into one of, sorry, I should bring water up here, into one of the stitches and then back down. Just catch another part of the stitch somewhere in here. And I mean, if you don't get it perfectly even, see, I came down a stitch here, so I'm on my fourth row here. It's not going to matter. So wherever you feel it kind of looks and falls into the right spot, See, now I'm coming back up. It's just because the way you crochet in the round, it kind of isn't always even, kind of on an angle, so it kind of makes these not quite straight. You'll notice that when you put eyes and stuff on, that one might seem just a touch lower, even though it's in the same row. And then where is this guy? This is a funny row. Oh, but I'm going back up. Okay, this is my last one. And then when you're done, you're just going to come on the other side. And you can tie it here, or you can come over here. I'm going to tie it to this, just because then I don't have to weave it in, and I can keep a knot there and know it's secure. You're not going to see any of this because it'll be all on the inside. Okay, so for row 6, we're going to do 6 single crochets and an increase all the way around for a total of 48. Now, I'm getting high in my numbers here, so if I screw up, I'm just going to start counting 1 to 8 instead of consecutively all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then our increase, 7 and 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and our increase, 15 and 16. This stitch does not want to come through for some reason. Okay, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and an increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and our increase, 31 and 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and our increase, 39 and 40. This should be our last one. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, and our increase, 47 and 48. Okay, so for row 7 to row 15, you are just going to do 48 single crochets all the way around. That'll be 9 rows, and I will let you do that on your own, and I will do mine off camera, and I will join you back when we're ready to start row 16. Okay, you should be done your 9 rows of 48 and ready to start row 16. And if you're not sure, because of this, how to count, you can come down to your last increase on row 6 right there. You can see there's 2 stitches there, and just start counting your 9 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so for row 16, you're going to do 6 single crochets, 1 decrease for a total of 42 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is your decrease. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and decrease 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 is a decrease, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28 is a decrease, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 is a decrease, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42 is a decrease. Row 17 is going to be 5 single crochets, 1 decrease all the way around for a total of 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, decrease 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and decrease 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and decrease 24. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and decrease for 30. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and decrease 36. Row 18, you're going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease all the way around for a total of 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, decrease for 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, and decrease 15. 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, decrease 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, and decrease for 30. Row 19 is going to be 3 single crochets, 1 decrease for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, decrease 4, 5, 6, 7, decrease 8. 9, 10, 11, decrease 12. 13, 14, 15, decrease for 16. 17, 18, 19, decrease 20. 21, 22, 23, and decrease 24. For row 20, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease for a total of 18. So 1, 2, decrease 3, 4, 5, decrease 6, 7, 8, decrease 9, 10, Whoops. 10, 11, 12 is a decrease, 13, 14, 15 is a decrease, 16, 17, and 18 is a decrease. Okay, before we go any further, we are just going to stuff this guy up and take care of his stem. So if you're using wire or a pipe cleaner, you're going to want to make sure you bend it over so that this part is up in the top, because if you use this part, it's going to eventually come out and poke through, and you don't want any of that happening. I am going to use just some garden tying wire. It's just from the dollar store, and if you find it there seasonally, I would say grab a pack, because you never know when you're going to need it, and it's fairly cheap. Okay, so if you don't have any wire, you can just take a little stitch and tie it or tack it down like that. You might not be able to put the spider on if you do that. If you're doing the spider, maybe you could tack it up here and let it hang. That might work. Okay, so measure it out about the length of your stem. And then you're just going to twist it just to kind of secure that end up top. You can go all the way down if you want. I might just loosely kind of do that. Okay. And you're going to clip that off. And you're going to put it up inside your stem. Just gently thread it up and through there. You may have to help it out a bit. If you stretch this part, it's not going to matter too much. Okay. And then we're going to add our stuffing. I didn't stuff the top half, I only stuffed the bottom half. I'll let you decide how far up you want to stuff it. You want to make sure you go on one side of the wire. Maybe I'll do a little smaller. One side of the wire on one side, and just kind of try and get on the other side of the wire, just so it's not right along the stem. Okay. Okay, stuff that guy up. Oh, I'm not doing this very eloquently. Look at this mess. What is this? Okay. Sorry, this is where I waste a lot of videoing time. Okay. But I figure if you guys are doing this at the same time, I might as well do it at the same time too. So you want it fairly firm, but don't stretch your stitches out. If you find you're always stretching your stitches out and you can see the stuffing, try going down a hook size. Sometimes it's your tension, sometimes it's just the yarn and needle you're using. So maybe you need thicker yarn, or you want to use a smaller size needle. Okay, a little bit more, just so we can get the shape. And I'm going to kind of spread it out this way, and that will help shape your pumpkin so he's a little more wider than tall. And also make sure you're not stretching it right here too bad when you do that. You just shape them how you want them. Turn up my back's here, so I'm going to kind of put my guy this way. Okay, now grab your eyes if you're using safety eyes. And you want to find kind of these two. This will be the center of him. Actually, we can mark that right now too, and that kind of keep us. So if we make that the center, and we'll just kind of come down about 9 rows. So right where your colors meet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's where my eyes are on that one, and I felt like they were a little low, so I'm going to put mine up a row or two and try that. So you're going to have them about 1, 2, 3, or 4 stitches apart. I mean from center. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I forgot to put the things on. Usually I paint my eyes, so I'm not used to having to have a little sparkly thing underneath. Your eyes can go anywhere you want them. Just play around a bit. That's usually my hardest part. I would rather crochet this whole pumpkin than pick where the eyes go. I can spend days just looking at it pinned in. Now, if you're gonna bring them together, that might be a little close, up to you. I think I'm gonna leave them there and not bring them in as close together. I'm gonna bring mine down, I think. We'll see as I get going. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the outside edge of the eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we'll put the backs on there. Watch out for that pin if you used one. Make sure there's no stuffing in the way and put your back on. Listen for the clicks. Again, try not to stretch out the bottom too much if you're doing it like me. You can take the stuffing out, put them in, and then try restuffing it after. Do I get both clicks? I think so. Okay. Okay, we're going to do the vine right now. So tie yourself a loop, leaving a little bit of a tail in case you need that to tie your vine to your pumpkin. And we are going to chain 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then you're going to do 3 slip stitches starting in this second chain from the hook. So not this one, this next one down. So a slip stitch, and then you're going to go to the next stitch and do another slip stitch, and then the next stitch, one more slip stitch. Now you're going to go 3 stitches in every chain all the way down. Now when you do this, make sure that your chain isn't twisting and you're getting on the wrong sides, because your chain will not twist properly. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 in the same stitch. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do 3 single crochets again. 1, 2, 3. And see, mine's already starting to curl. Another 3 single crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. And just let it curl on the bottom there, or if it's not curling, kind of guide it with your thumb as you're going. 3 more single crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to speed up a little bit now here, I think. Okay, so 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 in the next stitch. Oh, I know my problem is my yarn's not coming out. 1, 2, 3. Make sure your chain's not twisting. 1, 2, 3. Next stitch, 3 more single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Another 3 in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoops, 3. 3 in the next stitch. Oops. 1, 2, 3. 3 in the next stitch. 1, 2, and 3. 3 in the next stitch. 1, 2, 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 3. And then I well, that was my last stitch. So I'm just going to put a single crochet in there. And then, so that was 20, and this is how long it's going to be. If you want to make it longer, just do your chain longer. The next one I'm going to do is going to be shorter. But if you think this is short and you want a longer one yet, then instead of doing the 15 chain that I'm going to do a 25 or a 30. General rule for me that I found is it's about half the length of your chain. So if my chain was this long, then my little curl is going to be about this long. Okay, so now you're going to chain 15, or whichever number you choose. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And you're going to do your 3 slip stitches down the next 3 stitches, just like you did before, starting in the second chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do your 3 single crochets in each stitch all the way back down. Maybe I'll take this time to say, if you like my videos, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, send me a comment. I also have a Facebook page that I will link in the bottom in the description. And if you want to share something you've made off my channels, you can go down there, and there will be a little post with a YouTube icon that says YouTube share or something. Share your work with me. What else? Oh, anything you see in my videos right now are all my own patterns, and I have a YouTube video for each and every one, some better than others. But if you do like my style of crocheting, you can find them in on my channel under my playlists. And here's my last one. 2, 3, and I'm just going to slip stitch again somewhere into the other half. Doesn't really matter where. And then you're going to tie that off. I'm going to do mine twice. Oop, what was that? Oopsie. Here's my wire cutters falling in my coffee cup. Okay, so to put this on, I just tack it on. You can do a little bit more if you want. If you want to put it through a couple of times, if you want to weave, sew down this a little bit. But I'm just going to twist them how I want them. And then just kind of put it here on the side, opposite of where I want this to bend. And I'm just going to go in and out a couple of times on one of these stitches, making sure I pull that knot through inside if I can. Actually, I might go up this side too. Oopsie. See, I didn't leave my strings long enough. I'm just going to do that one more time. Just go in and grab a couple stitches and then come back out and then give it a tie. Oops, I didn't watch if that was in the video or not. I hope so. And then you're you're just going to take your ends and you're going to thread them down and through and just out somewhere. I like to always try and choose the back. Whoops. And then you can just kind of make those go however you want them. To do the spider, you're just going to make a loop at the end. And we're going to put 8 single crochets in there. So go in your loop, grab your yarn, pull it through, and you're going to make 1 chain just to secure that to your yarn. And we're going to do it for round 1, 8 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Grab a stitch marker if you need one. And for rows 2 and 3, you're just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, and 8. So that's 1 row, and our second row, another 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. For round 4, we are going to do 4 decreases. You can put them in the back loop. There's kind of no point. This is so tiny, and we're going to be pulling it up inside and not stuffing it. So for me, I'm just going to go regular way. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, whoops, and our 4th decrease. And then you're just going to tie that off with however long a string you need for hanging. So for me, if I need 6 inches, I'm going to cut 12 just in case. Or if I need 4, I'm going to do 8. Just so you know you have enough string at the end. Okay. Get your needle. And you're just going to go through the loops. I'll just kind of close this up. Give it a little tie. Then you're just going to come up through the center of the bottom, through the loop hole that you started with at the beginning. And you're just going to pull that up so that, and bring that all inside. So you just kind of have like a little gumdroppy kind of shape. I'm going to do the legs in a different color just so you can see what I'm doing. So all I did, you just want to find a stitch in the middle, and you're going to tie it to that stitch. You might not want to use the one that you pulled through because you might loosen that. And then you're just going to give it a tie. Once or twice. I'm just going to make mine a little shorter so they're easy to deal with in the camera view here. But they don't need to be as long as that anyway, because you are going to really cut them down. So then you're going to separate all the strands. Assuming you're using a 4-strand. And I'm just going to do one side. So I'm just going to take each strand now. Whoops, that was close. And you're just going to put 4 out and through on one side, and 4 out and through on the other side. And it's going to get a little confusing with all your little legs, but just take your time. Doesn't really matter how you go out, just kind of keep them on the same level. Up. One more. I might have put that one a little far back. I can't even grab it. Where is it? Yeah, I did. So I think I'm going to actually put this one in between the two. Did I not even grab it? I don't know what happened there. Okay, so you have your 4 legs on this side. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then you're just going to cut them to pretty close to the length that you want. So I think this looks like it's probably 1.5, 2 inches, probably 1.5. And you notice how they kind of split? If you like that, you can just leave them, but mine weren't hanging down after I cut them. After I cut them, they were kind of out more. So what I did was I made a loop in the end of my string, and then I just went and I took some Mod Podge. As you can see, they're kind of, if I get close, see, they're a little messy, but it kind of works. I just took Mod Podge and I, like a big glomp on my finger, and then I just pulled them down, each one. Tried to keep them separated as I did that. Well, I did it like this, hanging down. And then when I was done, because this hand's going to be full of glue, so before you do that, make sure you're prepared how you want to hang it, because you're not going to have much. You're only going to have one hand. And then I just hung mine on the towel rod in my bathroom. So you could probably hang it on a kitchen cupboard knob if you have the right kind. And then after I was done, there was a lot of this kind of thing. You just trim that off, and then your spider's good to go. And you'll just thread him in there and tie him on. And then hide this string wherever you want. Okay, before we close this guy up, I'm going to be using this video twice. Once to do just the pumpkin, and then I'm going to be using it in another video to make a little pumpkin man. So if you're here just to do the pumpkin, we will just be closing it up right now. If you're here to do the man, or you've come here to do the pumpkin and you've decided, oh, maybe I'll do the little pumpkin man, I will put a link into the description either for the full pumpkin man, or I will be making a part 2, and the link will also be down in the description saying part 2. So we'll close this guy up, and I will show you probably without thread how to mold this guy's face. And then you're either going to click the link in the description for part 2, or you're going to skip this part. I'll put a timestamp in, and we'll just keep going. Okay, so for closing it up, and don't forget, you're only doing this part if you're just making him a pumpkin. I'm going to take a little bit of the stuffing out just to make the closing part a little bit easier. And we will be continuing for the pumpkin only. Row 21, 1 single crochet and 1 decrease. Oops. So 1 and 2 is a decrease. I always have trouble once it's stuffed doing this. 2. 3, and 4 is a decrease. 'Seems harder than it should. 5, and 6 is a decrease. 7. Whoops. I had some stuffing in there anyway. So that's 7. 8 is a decrease. Try and keep yours a lot tighter And I'm going to be taking this out anyways, but, and then 9, 10 is a decrease, 11, and 12 is a decrease. And then for row 22 of the pumpkin only is 6 decreases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're just going to do a slip stitch and you'll tie that off. Don't cut your string yet. Oh, sorry, just so awkward all of a sudden. So you're going to want to give yourself quite a bit of string because you're going to use this string to bring his eyes down and over if necessary. So we're going to pretend that this gray string is your orange string now. You're going to add whatever stuffing you need to finish filling his head. Weave your yarn end through these loops, pull it tight, tie it off, and then you're going to use this long string you have left to kind of shape his face a bit. So you're going to come up through the bottom, right close to where you tied off. You're going to come up through one eye. Make sure you're underneath of it so you don't see this stitching. And then you're going to go down right beside, and you're going to come over to the other eye underneath again, because you don't want to see this. And then you're going to come back through the next stitch on that eye, and you're going to come back through one of these 2 stitches that you already did. Just make sure when you're coming back down through the eye, you're not going in the same stitch you came up, or you're just going to pull it through. Now let's see if I hold this and start tightening that. It's not going to look quite as good because it's not tied tight. So you just, and then you'll just keep going back and forth a couple of times. Don't get your eyes too close unless you really like it like that. And then when you've got this side how you want it, you're going to come back down in that other stitch that you've been using. I can't even see mine. There it is. And you're going to go back down in the center. Then you're going to start pulling it down as well. And you'll do that a few times. And then you're going to move on to the other eye. And yours will look way better than mine. I'm just trying to quickly show you because I'm going to be doing this again for the other guy. And I got to take all this gray stitches out in a second. So that's just to give you an idea. That's not how he's supposed to look, but if you get him looking like this, and then you're just going to take your pink and go around a couple stitches here, and then just go in and give him a little mouth if he needs it. I wasn't sure he needed a mouth. Okay, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe so you can see more of my videos. Hit the like button, send me a comment. I guess that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe I'll see you in another one of my videos. And happy crocheting.